Being part of the world's most powerful monarchy comes with its fair share of stress. But being the King of England's sister? That's a whole other level of pressure. Princess Anne has been in the public eye from the day she was born, simply because of her royal status. So, how does she handle the constant spotlight, and what impact has it had on her over the years? Let's take a closer look at the untold story of Princess Anne and how she deals with it all. Earlier this year, Princess Anne had a bit of a scare. She ended up in the hospital with a minor head injury and a concussion, likely caused by an accident involving a horse. The incident happened on her Gatcombe Park estate in Gloucestershire. Despite the fall, Buckingham Palace reassured everyone that the 74-year-old royal was expected to recover quickly and fully. According to her medical team, the injury was consistent with an impact from a horse's legs or head. Naturally, King Charles was kept fully updated and, along with the rest of the royal family, sent plenty of love and well wishes her way. Because of the accident, Princess Anne had to postpone her planned trip to Canada. She also missed the state banquet during the Japanese state visit, a rare occurrence for someone as dedicated as Anne. The accident reportedly happened while she was walking on her estate near horses. However, the exact details remain unclear. Emergency services were called to Gatcombe Park, and Anne was taken to Southmead Hospital in Bristol. She was conscious upon arrival and stayed in the hospital for observation as a precaution. The palace released a statement confirming this, adding that her husband, Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, as well as her children Zara and Peter, were on the estate at the time. Sir Tim accompanied her to the hospital to ensure she was well looked after. Despite the setback, Princess Anne has remained her usual resilient self, continuing to juggle her royal duties as best as she can. It's just another moment in the remarkable life of the Princess Royal. Buckingham Palace issued a statement explaining that the Princess Royal had suffered minor injuries and a concussion following an incident on the Gatcombe Park estate the previous evening. According to the NHS, a concussion happens when the brain experiences a bump, blow, or jolt, and it can cause symptoms like forgetfulness, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. Recovery typically takes a couple of weeks. Princess Anne's hospitalization came during a time when the royal family was already facing health challenges. Both King Charles and the Princess of Wales received recent medical diagnoses, limiting their public appearances. Known as one of the most hardworking members of the royal family, Princess Anne stepped up to fill the gap, attending numerous engagements despite the reduced royal roster. The week of her fall, she had a packed schedule, including the Japanese state visit and other commitments in Scotland, Hampshire, and Gloucestershire. Her dedication to public duty and straightforward approach have cemented her as one of the most admired royals, with consistently high approval ratings in public polls. Princess Anne is also renowned for her love of horses and her success in equestrian sports. She was the first royal to compete in the Olympics, representing Great Britain in Montreal in 1976. As the second child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, she was third in line to the throne at birth and is now 17th in the line of succession. Unfortunately, the effects of the fall meant she had to cancel some planned engagements. Among those missed was a significant First World War commemoration in Canada, which she deeply regretted not being able to attend. While recovering at her home on the Gatcombe Park estate after spending 5 nights in the hospital, Anne expressed her sadness in a message delivered on her behalf by Canada's Governor-General, Mary Simon, during the event in St. John's, Newfoundland. The ceremony on July 1st, Canada Day, marked the repatriation of the remains of an unknown Newfoundland soldier from the First World War. His remains were brought back from the battlefields of northern France and laid to rest at the Newfoundland National War Memorial. The occasion also marked the 100th anniversary of the memorial located on the plateau where the unknown soldier was entombed. Princess Anne, who serves as Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment and President of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, was originally scheduled to attend this significant commemoration during a planned overseas tour to Canada. Anne praised the bravery and sacrifices of the soldiers who fought in the Battle of the Somme in 1916, one of the most significant and devastating battles of the First World War. However, her recent accident meant she had to step away from public duties on her medical team's advice, waiting until it was deemed safe and comfortable for her to resume her engagements. In a message released after her fall, Anne expressed her deep regret at being unable to join the event in person. She recalled fond memories of attending the 99th anniversary in 2016, during which she honored the soldiers who fought at Beaumont Hamel. The princess conveyed her warmest wishes to all those attending the ceremony, highlighting the sacrifices of the Newfoundland Regiment, which suffered devastating losses on the first day of the Battle of the Somme. Of the 800 soldiers who went into battle, more than 700 were killed or wounded. Anne left the hospital nearly a week after her injury and began her recovery at home under standard concussion protocols. Her medical team reported that her injuries were likely caused by an impact with a horse's head or legs, though the exact details of the incident remain unclear. While recuperating, she continued to receive rehabilitation support and was eager to return to her royal duties once cleared by her doctors. An air ambulance was initially called to take Princess Anne to the hospital after her accident, but she ended up traveling by road after receiving treatment from an emergency crew at the scene. The life of a royal is undoubtedly filled with highs and lows, yet Princess Anne has managed to maintain a sense of normalcy while navigating the unique challenges of royal life. Princess Anne was born on August 15, 1950, at Clarence House during the reign of her grandfather, King George VI. She is the second child and only daughter of Princess Elizabeth, Duchess of Edinburgh, later Queen Elizabeth II, and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Her birth was marked by a 21-gun salute in Hyde Park, and she was baptized in the music room of Buckingham Palace on October 21, 1950, by the Archbishop of York, Cyril Garbett. At the time of her birth, Anne was third in line to the throne, following her mother and older brother Charles. When her grandfather passed away in 1952 and her mother ascended to the throne, Anne became second in line. Over the years, as the royal family expanded, she moved down the line of succession and is now 17th. Anne's love for horses has been a defining feature of her life. In spring 1971, she finished fourth at the Badminton Horse Trials and went on to win the individual title at the European Eventing Championships with her horse, Dublin. That same year, she was named BBC Sports Personality of the Year, a testament to her equestrian skills. Her passion for equestrian sports didn't stop there. Anne competed in horse racing, including events like the Grand Military Steeplechase at Sandown Park and the Diamond Stakes at Royal Ascot. For more than 5 years, she represented the British eventing team, earning silver medals in both individual and team disciplines at the 1975 European Eventing Championships. In 1976, she became the first member of the British royal family to compete in the Olympics, representing Great Britain in the Montreal Games. Riding the Queen's horse, Goodwill, she suffered a concussion midway through the event, but displayed her characteristic determination by remounting and finishing the course. Princess Anne's lifelong connection to horses and her commitment to public service have helped her carve out a unique and admired role within the royal family. Her ability to balance duty, sport, and personal passion has earned her widespread respect and admiration. Princess Anne has said she doesn't remember completing the jumps after her concussion during the 1976 Olympic Games. The British team eventually had to withdraw from the competition after 2 horses were injured. As a member of the royal family, Anne's romantic life has often been under public scrutiny. Her teenage years saw several relationships that drew attention. Among her early romances were Gerald Ward, who later became Prince Harry's godfather, and Sandy Harper, a polo player. She was also linked to the Earl of Caithness, who was close in age to her brother Charles, and Brian Alexander. However, none of these relationships became particularly serious. Anne, an avid equestrian, later fell for Olympic equestrian Richard Meade in her late teens or early 20s. Despite their shared love of horses, the relationship didn't last, with some speculating that Prince Philip disapproved due to their 12-year age gap. Anne's romantic life intertwined with some notable names connected to her family. In 1970, she briefly dated Andrew Parker Bowles, who later married Camilla Shand, now Queen Camilla. The relationship wasn't serious, partly because Parker Bowles was Catholic and therefore not eligible to marry a royal princess. Despite this, the two remained friends, and Parker Bowles is the godfather of Anne's daughter, Zara Tyndall. Anne's love of horses also brought her together with her future husband, Captain Mark Phillips. Both accomplished riders, they met at an equestrian event in Mexico City and began dating shortly after. Their shared passion for equestrian sports made them a fitting match. Beyond her personal relationships, Anne has been deeply involved in the equestrian world. She served as president of the Fédération Équestre Internationale from 1986 to 1994, and has been a patron of the Riding for the Disabled Association since 1971, later becoming its president in 1985, a role she still holds. Anne also made history as the first member of the royal family to compete on a television quiz show, appearing on the BBC's A Question of Sport in 1987. Her love of horses and commitment to various equestrian causes have defined much of her public and private life, cementing her reputation as one of the most hardworking and grounded members of the royal family. Captain Mark Phillips proposed to Princess Anne with a stunning sapphire and diamond engagement ring. After their engagement was announced, the couple was asked if they thought their marriage could withstand the pressures of royal life and constant public attention. Anne confidently responded, "It's got to. It doesn't have a choice." Princess Anne was the first of her siblings to marry, tying the knot with Captain Phillips in a grand ceremony at Westminster Abbey. The event was televised to an audience of around 500 million people worldwide, with approximately 2,500 guests in attendance. Anne wore a timeless white gown with a high neckline, long trumpet sleeves, and a dramatic 7-foot train. On her head, she donned the same tiara her mother, Queen Elizabeth, had worn for her wedding in 1947. Anne's bouquet featured white roses, and she completed the look with diamond cluster earrings. The couple went on to have 2 children, Peter Phillips, born in 1977, and Zara Phillips, now Tyndall, born in 1981. Despite the happy moments, their marriage began to unravel, and the pair separated in 1989. It was revealed that Captain Phillips had fathered a child during an extramarital affair in 1985. Their divorce was finalized in 1992, bringing nearly 2 decades of marriage to an end. But Princess Anne's love life took another turn when she became romantically involved with naval officer Sir Timothy Lawrence. The relationship started while Anne was still married to Phillips, and it created a media frenzy when their private letters were stolen and leaked, confirming rumors of their affair. The scandal was widely publicized, thrusting Anne into the spotlight once again during a particularly tumultuous time in her personal life. Despite the drama, Anne and Sir Timothy went on to marry later that same year, and their relationship has endured, marking a new chapter in the princess's life. In the midst of the stolen letters scandal, Buckingham Palace confirmed that Commander Timothy Lawrence, one of the Queen's equerries, had written 4 private letters to Princess Anne. The palace issued a statement acknowledging the incident, saying the letters were personal and meant for the Princess Royal from a friend. They refrained from commenting further on their content, as the matter became the subject of a police investigation. Anne and Timothy kept their relationship discreet, avoiding the public eye and rarely being photographed together. When Sir Timothy proposed, he presented Anne with a sapphire and diamond engagement ring, adding another royal engagement to the books. The couple married later in 1992 in a low-key ceremony in Scotland, as the Church of England did not permit remarriages after divorce at the time. Anne wore a simple and elegant white suit, accessorized with a small floral arrangement in her hair instead of a traditional veil. The ceremony was intimate, attended only by close family, with her daughter Zara serving as the bridesmaid. Unlike Anne's previous partners and her lifelong connection to horses, Timothy Lawrence is not a horse enthusiast. However, the two share a love for rugby, which has become a shared interest in their marriage. Despite their differing hobbies, the couple has built a strong and enduring bond. In addition to other prominent royal romances, the lengthy and tumultuous relationship that King Charles III had with Camilla, who is now the Queen Consort, also left an indelible effect on the history of the royal family. According to reports, Prince Charles had already developed a profound affection for Camilla Parker Bowles, née Shand, before to his marriage to Princess Diana in 1981. The narrative of their relationship has been extensively documented in a variety of mediums, including novels, films, The Crown, and even Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. It is said that the pair first met at a polo event that took place at Windsor Great Park in the year 1970. It is also possible that they met at a party in 1972, according to a different version of their narrative. Camilla, who was a debutante at the time and lived in London at the age of 25, is reported to have made a cheeky remark to Charles during their meeting. She stated that her great-grandmother had been the mistress of his great-great-grandfather. In a playful manner, she remarked, "We share a common ground." Following a number of years of separation and a number of unexpected turns in their romantic travels, Charles and Camilla finally tied the knot in April of 2005. Despite the passage of several decades, their relationship continues to be one of the most talked-about royal romances, captivating the attention and scrutiny of the general public. Regardless of whose account of their initial encounter is accurate, there is one thing that can be said with absolute certainty. Charles and Camilla had a certain spark. On the other hand, their burgeoning romance was halted in 1971 when Charles enlisted in the Royal Navy. Charles did not propose to Camilla until after he had returned to sea in February 1973, despite the fact that they had been dating for 6 months. Camilla restarted her affair with Andrew Parker Bowles, whom she had initially met at a party in 1965. This occurred while he was away. It was on July 4, 1973, when the couple tied the knot. Take a look at Princess Diana. It was at the time that Prince Charles was courting Lady Diana's sister, Lady Sarah, that they first met. The age of Diana at the time was only 16 years old. Diana reflected on their first encounter in a television interview that took place in 1981, following the announcement of her engagement. She stated, "It was 1977 and you, Charles, came to stay. My sister Sarah counted him as a colleague and friend. A hunting shoot was the reason he arrived. They made the announcement of their engagement on February 24, 1981, and just a few months later, on July 29, 1981, they tied the knot in a glittering ceremony that was witnessed by millions of people." While Charles was 32 years old, Diana had just turned 20 years old. However, Diana disclosed to the author Andrew Morton that she was aware of Camilla's presence even on the day of her wedding, which was several years later. Due to the fact that she was aware of the past between Camilla and Charles, she admitted to looking for Camilla throughout the congregation. From the beginning of their marriage, despite the splendor of their wedding, fractures started to develop in their relationship. It was stated that Charles and Camilla had restarted their connection by the year 1986, despite the fact that both of them were married and had children at the time. During an interview that took place in 1995 for the program Panorama on BBC One, Diana made the famous statement, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," in which she spoke specifically about Camilla. Also, Diana addressed Camilla about the affair that she was having. During the conversation, she recalled telling her, "I am aware of what is occurring between you and Charles, and I would like for you to be aware of that." This confrontation, on the other hand, did not appear to bring about any changes. When an intimate phone conversation between Charles and Camilla, which had been recorded in 1989, was made public, it became impossible to deny that they were having an affair. This occurred at the beginning of 1993. The transmission of the recording resulted in a significant controversy, which confirmed their relationship and left the royal family to deal with the consequences of the situation. This particular chapter, notwithstanding the controversy that surrounded it, was a significant turning point in the narrative of Charles and Camilla's long-lasting yet turbulent romance. It was in 1993 when Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles had a phone call that became notorious, and the release of a transcript from that conversation made headlines. A remark made by the 2 individuals during the chat that was intended to be humorous about Charles being reborn as a tampon instead served to add gasoline to the fire of the scandal that was surrounding their relationship. According to reports, this chat, in conjunction with the public's understanding of the affair, was one of the primary elements that led to the collapse of both Charles and Diana's marriage, as well as Camilla's marriage to Andrew Parker Bowles. While Camilla filed for divorce in January 1995, Charles and Diana formalized their divorce in August 1996. Camilla filed for divorce in January 1995. Charles acknowledged that he had a close relationship with Camilla in a documentary that was released in 1994. He referred to Camilla as a great friend and emphasized that she had been a friend for a significant amount of time and would continue to be one in the future. On the other hand, the dissolution of their marriages was merely the beginning of their adventure as a pair in the public eye. On August 31, 1997, Princess Diana was involved in a high-speed chase with paparazzi, which ultimately resulted in her tragic death in a vehicle accident in Paris. She had reached the age of 36 when the disaster occurred, and it was also responsible for the deaths of her partner, the businessman Dodi Fayed, and their driver, Henry Paul. In 1998, it was established without a reasonable doubt that Prince William had made his initial introduction to Camilla, the lover of his father. On the other hand, not every member of the royal family was on board with supporting the relationship. There were reports that Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip were uneasy about Charles's connection with Camilla, which had been described as adulterous at one point. To tell you the truth, they declined to be there for his 50-year-old birthday party, and the Queen first declined to meet Camilla. Queen Elizabeth II agreed to meet Camilla at the birthday party of King Constantine of Greece, which was hosted at Charles's estate, Highgrove House, in the year 2000. This was despite the antagonism that existed between the two parties. The acceptance of Camilla by the royal family was regarded as having taken a huge stride forward as a result of this meeting. Announcing his engagement to Camilla in February of 2005, Charles made the announcement. Both of them have been residing at Clarence House together from the year 2003. In a civil ceremony that took place in Windsor Guildhall on April 9, 2005, the couple announced their marriage. Following this, a formal blessing was bestowed upon the individual by the Archbishop of Canterbury in St. George's Chapel, which is located within Windsor Castle. During the COVID-19 pandemic that occurred in the year 2020, Charles and Camilla underwent quarantine together. Both of them, along with Queen Elizabeth II, displayed positive results for the virus. Nonetheless, all three of them recovered. Their romance, which had endured decades of scandal, ultimately resulted in a long-lasting union, and their 15th wedding anniversary marked another milestone in their journey together. Their relationship had endured decades of scandal. Throughout their lifetimes, members of the British royal family have been subjected to a complicated mix of public obligation, personal sacrifice, and frequently experiences of personal tragedy. As a result of the constant pressure of public scrutiny and the emotional problems that come with being in the spotlight, the royal family, and especially King Charles and Camilla, have traveled a route that is full of both adulation and scandal. The public's attention has been focused on their relationship in particular, which has been the subject of a barrage of inquiries. They have managed to maintain their connection despite the difficult beginning, which was marked by scandals, divorces, and public criticism. As a crucial turning point in their trip, the Queen's backing of Camilla as Queen Consort provided a sense of legitimacy and blessing to their union. This enabled them to move forward with their journey. A family that is frequently ripped apart by private and personal difficulties saw a rare moment of public solidarity during this time. The royal family also faces personal health challenges, as evidenced by the continuous fight against cancer that King Charles is currently engaged in. As a demonstration of perseverance in the face of hardship, the family continues to carry out their responsibilities, in spite of the obstacles that they have encountered. They continue to serve the public even when they are going through difficult circumstances in their personal lives. Over the course of the last few decades, a significant portion of the royal story has been characterized by the sad romance that occurred between Prince Charles and Diana, followed by the emergence of Camilla as his consort. It sheds light on the significant difficulties that arise while attempting to navigate love, duty, and expectation, while under the great scrutiny of the public. All things considered, the lives of the royal family are replete with both achievements and heartbreaks, and they serve as a reflection of the complicated relationship that society has with fame, family, and responsibility. What are your thoughts on the path that the royal family has taken through love, loss, and civic duty? Feel free to subscribe and check out other videos on the channel.